When you just got You said you were going anywhere and saw your big wire.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I did that one.
You did say
Are you
that.
involved in all that
That is my only trick. I believe it when I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll check your frequent flyer map at the end of the year, and then I'll be like, oh,
The picture of those things. How long were
Japan
hey, how long
time.
were
I,
how tall were
Japan
they?
time.
Oh, did I show you what I got?
Yeah.
Did I tell you what I got from him?
Oh, there's
We did an auction up there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With all the antique firearms and
I'm
everything.
busy thinking about
And
Japan.
after it was all done, he made artillery.
But I don't know.
Not live.
I mean, oh,
Yeah, yeah. It
We'll
was
amend- we'll
one
amend
from
it,
the
I
old,
assume.
it's about yay big.
I understand that Mr. Severance wants to have his nails done,
What?
and
Oh, yeah?
What happened?
he wants to have his nails done, so he's gonna rent this place on, 49 Public Square.
Hair and nails.
That's a low blow.
Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Yes. My wife gets them done, but not I. But yes, Mr. Ball, would you please explain to us why we want to hear about the lease at 49 Public Square?
Well, it used to be the Moonlit Soul, and we feel like the market ran out on rocks and those things. They're not really consumables. My kids have a bunch. They still have them, right? So for whatever reason, the nice ladies that were there have stopped doing business, and it has been vacant. Our goal is to not have it be vacant, and we recently kind of put the word out there and had some competition, and so we have two nice ladies that would like to have, each will have their own business, and we'll enter a lease to get that space occupied right away if this group wants to.
Now, there are two separate doors there, right? Is it two?
No,
It's a one door.
one door. So there'll be it'll be two business entities in the same space.
Is that where the flower shop used to be?
No, Moonlit Soul.
It was Moonlit Soul.
The flower shop was there.
I think it
It
was
might
a
have been a
flower
flower
shop
shop
like 10 years
Long before that,
Paul's
yeah.
Flowers.
Paul's Flowers.
Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
was
right.
Paul's Flowers when you back up a little bit.
I'm old.
Not that old.
So they're
I
kind
remember that. I used to buy flowers in there.
So they're kind of co-opting the space.
Yep. Mhm. Now, we did have, they did not meet the deadline, but there is another interested party in the vac shop, which I think is 46. So we have that, we've advertised that. They are still gonna have the plumber come and look and get them some quotes, because they'll need some small modifications to operate. So there is another, they did not meet the deadline. They're meeting with the plumber, I think, tomorrow or Wednesday. So there'll be some more activity, but this is the one that made the deadline, and the ladies are ready to go. They've actually asked me if you've already voted on it. I'm like, council's, in the evening, not 7 in the morning, right? So the ladies are very excited.
Do you know the nature of the two businesses, just for
Well,
probably a free
hair-
advertisement here?
Hair and nails. You have the
Hair
names,
and
Rob.
nails, okay.
It's in the legislation, the
All right.
two business names. So yeah, we're excited. They'll pay the utilities. They'll be responsible for air conditioning, changing the paint on the outside. We think, again, it's going to be a little different. They might want a different look. So they'll take over, as many responsibilities as we're allowed to give them. And they're excited about it. And
We're not worried about any parking spaces up around?
No,
can
they
park on
don't.
the square for
yeah,
30 minutes?
they're not renting any parking spaces. They know that there's public parking, and yeah, that they know what they're getting into. We were very honest with them. They looked at it. I think one of them had looked at it back a while, but then it seems to work with two people sharing the space. So they kind of went away and came back. So we're pretty excited.
When you said they missed the deadline, what deadline did they miss?
Well, so the other space. So this space, we got their background checks, credit checks, all that done by Wednesday, because our goal is to give the legislation to these nice gentlemen over here on Wednesday so that it can roll through. But the space on the end, which I think is 46, the former vac shop, that person wanted to do a little bit more due diligence, because they're wanting to see what the cost might be for some slight plumbing and ventilation modifications. Nothing major, but just enough they wanted to get a quote before they committed. So we have two other interested people kind of floating around, and we may be bringing those back at any point when folks feel ready.
Council, I plan to take this to the third and final reading, because we want to get a lease ready to go and get it out, so.
We've drafted the lease.
Pardon me?
The lease is ready to go.
Yep.
We just need to
Yep.
pass the resolution, which is 2026-22.
Yeah, Rob and Rachel worked on that, and that's ready to go upon your approval.
What's the current use of the building?
Well, it's the space right in that particular
Yeah, the space right now.
That's
Is it vacant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The Moonlit Soul, 2 years now. Last year they closed up operations, and we had a couple people. We had 2 or 3 different people looking at it, and none of them really came through. And this is Mrs. Bluebalk was one of those folks, and she's come back with a business partner and is ready to sign a lease. So she did look at it right after it closed, but we had a little bit of,
What's the length of the lease?
It's a year.
1 year is renewable. Yep. And again, we'll pay water, sewer, stormwater, and the taxes, because it's not tax exempt, and they will pay gas and electric, and then maintain all the systems and that's it. So when an area is vacant, our parks and building folks are going through, making sure everything's okay, and then we're covering the cost of the heat and the electric to keep it fully operational.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We're adjourn the Streets and Public Buildings. Mr. Severance is going to move now to Finance and Budget. Mr. Mahan to discuss ordinance 2026-04, bond anticipation notes. A little bit of money there.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And council, I think we have, what is a draft version, and there's a version 2 of this coming. Is that correct, Mr. Sawyer?
There is, I sent you that second version, Zach.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah,
There is a version that I think needs to be updated onto the agenda. If you look at the version that you have on your agenda right now, you'll see a section 15 that references OMAP, or the Ohio Municipal, help me out here, the Ohio Market Access Program. We will not be utilizing that program, so that section or any reference to OMAP can be removed from the legislation. There's also several things that I think just kind of housekeeping throughout that version 2 of that piece of legislation that was submitted, and I think erroneously the first draft of the legislation was put forward.
So, before, we're gonna, I mean, obviously, we got several minutes to talk about this, and we have a gentleman here, I believe, from Bradley, Payne. But just so you know, council, we're gonna have some, this is gonna have a different version of this, so next meeting, and then we're gonna go all 3 readings, and we'll have another committee meeting on March 9th. So just want to make sure we all understand that. Talking about anticipation, a bond issue to fund the construction of the police station. So, Mr. Sawyers, you want to
Yeah,
help us out with the process here?
Yeah, set the stage here. Earlier in the year, or no, later last year, I should say, the prior council approved a reimbursement resolution of up to $25 million that was really based around construction. We have worked internally with our team, with our owner's representative, Pizzuti Solutions, with our design firm, BKV, now with our construction manager at risk, Cornica Cozing, and we have diligently, look at Brian here, exhaustively worked to keep that construction. And then I'm going to separate two real buckets of things: construction and then soft costs. Soft costs could include design, land acquisition, which you remember that we received $2 million from the state from that one-time strategic fund. They could also include what they call FF&E, which is furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. And those are costs that are built in over time. So when we're looking at a $25 million reimbursement resolution, that was really focused on construction for this project, okay? So what I don't want council to see is, capacity for $29 million and say, well, you're already $4 million over budget. No, we have worked incredibly difficultly, or we have worked incredibly hard to keep that number, that construction number, on target. And so now I'm going to let, over the course of these three committee meetings, we're going to bring in the people that really know their stuff. So we've got Andy Brossart from Bradley Payne, our municipal advisor here, that's going to kind of explain the intricacies of the bond market and the financing. We'll have folks from Bricker, Graydon, and Wyatt to come in and talk about the legality of these things, and we'll have Pizzuti come in and talk about, the kind of the process through that design that we've gone through and out to building this. And we really are open for any of these questions, because this is a major project that both, our team, anybody from the media, anybody from the public, if you have questions on how this is being born. And I appreciate the earlier question that we got from, I think, Mr. Mahan and Councilwoman Keener regarding particularly sections 7 and 8, and we can address those tonight. But before we get into that, I'll let Mr. Brossart.
So you're saying the legislation we have here is not the legislation that will be presented at the next meeting? It's going to be
It is incredibly similar. There are just pieces of it that need to be removed, particularly section 15 that references OMAP. I don't know that there's a whole lot that substantively will change.
No,
other
I don't
than
think
that.
so either.
Yeah.
So, good evening. Andy Brossart with Bradley Payne. We're the municipal advisor to the city, and the legislation before you tonight would authorize up to $29 million. So, if the project would come in and bids come in less, obviously you would borrow less. It's just a max number. And a lot of this is really standard language that a lot of communities across the state utilize when they go to do borrowings like this. There's two ways that you can finance a project, basically. Well, three, I guess. One is pay cash, and I don't think you got $29 million to write a check for this. The other is what you have before you tonight, which is a 1-year financing instrument. And then the last one would be a bond structure, which is where we'll probably end up in a couple years or maybe even next year. The 1-year note structure is very common when it comes to construction projects. It gives you the ability to get cash in quickly. It gives you the lowest form of interest rate, generally, historically it is, and in today that is the case as well. And so what would happen here is that you would issue this 1-year note, and then as it comes due, at about the same time, April of next year, we would have the decision to either keep it in a 1-year note format, do it again, and of course, the biggest question there is what is the risk associated with that? And the risk associated with that is market rate or market access. Generally, market rates are what you're more concerned about. Market access only happens very few times in my career, maybe 3 times. So the 1-year note instrument would give you the ability to pay down more if you wanted to. Let's just say that the income taxes have done great. You might want to pay $2 million down on it. You can do it at that time, and you can roll it for 1 more year if we would like to, given where we see the interest rate environment may be. We've had clients utilize this when the market was high with inflationary concerns. They went to a 1-year note and rode the rates down. A lot of them are converting to bonds now because their project's done and they want to kind of confine their risk and know what their payment is on an annual basis. The other option, instead of rolling it another year, would be to go right to fixed rate bonds. And so hopefully we'll get to a point where we know the project costs are really in known. And then you can take the notes to long-term financing at that point in time. I would bore you with charts, but if I had charts with me tonight, you would see that on the 1-year note rates, they shot up from, I think, 30 basis points was the low for a 1-year note going back in 2020, all the way up to 5% when the inflationary concerns kicked in, and they've been slowly coming back down. So in today's market, when we look at what the interest rate may be for this borrowing, we're probably in about the 4% range. And again, every month it seems like we continue to test new lows relative to the interest rate market. The long-term rates aren't, in our opinion, and I think a lot of experts don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. And so the concern of the risk is not locking in interest rates right now. And when you do that, understand that you're locking in for the full term and you cannot adjust it, unlike your mortgage where you can refinance every other month if you wanted to, if it made sense. Bonds are a different instrument, and investors are wanting to have call protection because they're giving you their money for a long period of time. So they want to make sure that they have some protection there. It used to be, 30 years ago, it'd be a 10-year call protection plus a penalty. We got away from the penalties, and it was just a 10-year call. As the market went down to ridiculously low rates, we started to push those calls. And in fact, Wednesday we're doing a deal for Upper Arlington, and the call on that is going to be 5 years. So that generally kind of dictates what the investor market's willing to give you. And so hopefully we could push a 7-year call by the time you get to this. And so that gives you the ability to refinance should rates come lower in the future once you go to bonds. But knowing bonds that you're locked in for good, notes we've got a 1-year option, and we come through that next year and we'll reevaluate where things are at and see what our suggestion is and really what your collective ability, feeling is as to what you want to do with the financing at that point in time. Yes, sir.
So, sir, if this passes and we approve a ceiling of $29 million, that doesn't mean we'll necessarily borrow all of that.
That's
and
correct.
If we do, we won't necessarily borrow it immediately. Is that correct?
Well, we have to, under state law, in order to sign a contract, you have to certify that funds are either on hand or shortly going to be delivered shortly thereafter. And so you have to have the cash in the bank in order to sign the contract for the project. So let's just say the number's $29 million for argument's sake. You might be paying a 4% interest on that over 1 year. The other side of that too is you will be investing that money and you're not going to be spending it all at once. And generally there's a draw schedule that you'll be given from your project management team, and then that will work with your investment advisors to help lock that in over a period of time so that you maximize as much interest as you can over the construction period. So generally speaking, I think what you'll find in this market is that you'll probably earn about as much as you will pay in interest the first year. And as it slowly comes down, because you're not, generally at the back end and kind of a bell curve when it comes to how you spend the money for a project. But you'll have some investment proceeds on that.
Good, understood.
So we talked about this previously when we did the bond piece, that we have a bond limit for the city and that some of our older bonds are coming off. So I think that that's really important to remember, that the city had some debt that is rolling off. And so there is space for these bonds to come on.
Yeah, and so you might recall that the last time I was here, we talked about doing an evaluation of how where things are at with your debt, and then also, where are the revenue projections going as well. And so that's a great point. You have debt rolling off significantly over the next, I think, 5 years. Last time I checked, that'll help reduce your amount of its outflow relative to debt service. One thing that we talked about a lot too, and the mayor always kind of reminds me of this, is that, because I brought it up one time and it stuck in his head, was the amount of debt that's generally acceptable when it comes to a rating agency. And so when they look at that, they look at what they call in essence, your essential funds. And so that would be the general fund and then the other funds, police, fire, and all those that kind of merge together. You generally don't want to see that go over 9% for a community your size. Of what your expenditures are. And so that's, we're below that range today. And we want to make sure we kind of stay in that realm, obviously, going forward. And also not use up all your debt capacity, because something may come up that you might need to access the markets for. And you are not doing that either. And your debt capacity is fine when it comes to the unvoted debt capacity, which is what this would fall under, that you're borrowing.
And our investments, you said something about the investment returns that we've had.
Well, could our treasurer please come up and talk about our current investment income, and then also reiterate what our gentleman said about we'll spend part of this money and part of this money will be invested to help sustain the interest payment.
So let's just say we borrow the 29 million, it's put in the bank, but you're not going to spend it right away. So you're gonna invest that 29 million right away, and then as you draw it down, then your investments become less. But you'll probably never go to zero by the end of the year. So you're gonna have part of that, most of it probably, invested for the whole year. So yeah, you're paying interest on it, but you're also earning some interest income on what you're not using for the construction.
And then also, just in general, the city's investments have been performing well. So
They have, and so we've been lucky because the rate environment's good, and but for like within a year, we can buy some commercial paper, we can do some treasuries, we can do CDs. There's some things we can do for those short-term investments that could be meaningful.
Are those beneficial when someone is looking at our city to give us bonds?
Meaning the reinvestment rate?
Well, and what we're getting as an income.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the investments that you've
you know,
done.
in terms of an investor, they're not really going to look at that. I mean, they generally look at, the overall health of the city, the purpose. It's a primary purpose for what you're borrowing for, and generally your history of your ability to pay back. And so, I mean, look, Ohio municipalities are considered fairly strong across the state. I think, if you look at municipal obligations, historically 1/10% has ever defaulted, and even then there was some sort of workout. And actually, ironically, those are the large ones like Detroit or something like that. But they're usually a safe investment.
When you talk about the bond limit, how much you can bond, is that the general fund or is that all funds?
So the way I look at it is you have sort of two different limitations, right? You have the statutory limitation of where you get based upon your assessed valuation. There's two limitations. One is the direct debt, and this would be exempted from that because we are anticipating using income tax revenues to help to repay this. The other one is your unvoted, they call it the 10 mil limitation. That's also based upon valuation, but that's a calculation of debt service each year. And so it also falls in line with the 10 mils that are collected currently. And the theory is that within the 10 mils, all the overlapping subdivisions cannot have more unvoted debt out than 10 mils of calculated ability within a year. So
My question is the 40 million we're talking about for the sewer plant,
No, that doesn't count.
separate.
That doesn't
Because
count.
that's
That's what I'm asking.
separate,
Yeah.
because it's from an enterprise fund, and the user fees from the enterprise, the water, wastewater, and stormwater, those cover that, and so they're not counted as part of this, all
That's
this
correct.
debt that he was talking about.
that was my question. Okay.
So folks, I have 2 minutes, but we really want to discuss briefly Section 7, which is if you read the legislation, is a property tax. I want to make it clear, Mr. Sluggers, we don't intend for a property tax to fund this bond. So could you help us understand why that's there and what the plan is?
Yeah, so it was, if you read this section of the legislation, which I assume will be in the next legislation,
Yes.
as it's just a kind of boilerplate stopgap language. There is a section that refers to a debt service levy. It says that there shall be and is hereby levied annually on all taxable property in the city, in addition to other taxes and inside the 10 mil limitation, as Mr. Brosart was referring, a direct tax, the debt service levy, for each year during which any of the notes are outstanding in an amount not less than which would have been levied if the bonds had been issued without the prior issuance of the notes, for the purposes of providing and in amounts which is sufficient to provide funds to pay interest upon the notes, and when the same falls due, and to provide a fund for the repayment of the principal of the notes at maturity upon redemption. The debt service levy shall not be less than all interest and sinking fund tax required by Article 12, Section 11 of the Ohio Constitution. So that beautifully written thing by clearly a lawyer. I contacted Bricker Graydon, who helped us write this legislation, and Paul Rutter from Bricker replied to our question, which was, as to your questions about sections 7 and 8. Section 8 also refers to that topic. Said that language is the backstop of levying an inside or unvoted millage levy if necessary to pay the debt service on the bonds. We don't expect you to need those sections, but they give the notes the security / classification as limited tax general obligation debt, which is very secure. We expect the income tax receipts and or other revenues to provide the funds necessary to repay the bonds. The no inside millage levy will be necessary. So basically, you're giving yourself coverage. That way we can issue these bonds and people are secure in their investment.
Very standard language. Section 8 does talk about if it's other funds available, then it's not levied.
Okay. So we don't intend to use this, but people who are purchasing these bonds expect to see this language.
That's right.
In order to secure it, in order to get the interest rate. That we
That's
need.
correct.
Okay.
So if you're a layperson reading this, don't panic. That's just kind of that boilerplate language that's in there. We
It's-
expect our receipts to cover the debt service of the bond.
It's kind of like putting up something of value
Right.
for
That's a good way to
Yeah.
put
You
it,
have to
yes.
give them a shoe
Yeah.
in order
a
to.
watch,
Yeah.
not a shoe.
So,
Not an Appalachian
I'm
view.
at the end of my time, but we're gonna need a 20-minute meeting on March 9th again to discuss this. Thank you
Yep.
for coming up, very much for your time.
I'll be back on the 23rd too, if, I think it's your other meeting, if there's a need for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chairman, if I may, council, I passed this out before the meeting. This is the updated timeline on this. It explains the activities and readings and everything, so it's all out there for you to follow.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr.
President, I'm done with this, this committee, but we'll have another one in 2 weeks.
We'll adjourn the finance and budget. We'll move now to employee and community relations with Mrs. Keener to discuss ordinance 2026-03, executive administrator for public works and code enforcement position.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is down towards the end of your packet, third from the bottom. We kind of touched on this coming forward, and it's something that, again, we had in the budget and we had discussed around budget time. So I will let Mr. Salyers talk about this role, what it'll do, how we're creating it, that type.
So for clarification's sake, the legislation does read public utilities code enforcement. I know the committee section says public works. So
Utilities is
yeah,
correct.
it is utilities, public utilities, not public works, for anybody that might have been confused by that. So most of our departments in the city council have either an administrative assistant or an executive administrator. The two that do not are public utilities and the newly formed code enforcement department. We've been working for the last several years on reforming the public utility, the personnel of public utility and all the divisions therein. And of course, just last year really we formed code enforcement as a department of its own. And there are, if we were a much larger city, you would probably have assistant directors of all the divisions of code enforcement. Right now, and I know several of you have, if not all of you, have gone on ride-alongs with code enforcement or have seen some of the stuff that they deal with, or have had conversations about some of the projects that they would like to pursue. If those things were even toyed about, you definitely need an executive administrator in the code enforcement department. Already, a lot of the work that Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Marvin do, their time is split because they are doing a lot of the work that an executive administrator would do, and that work has fallen on my administrative assistant, primarily because, well, she has always been across the hallway, but not so fast because we moved to 236 South Main Street, so trick no good, Scott Zimmerman. Of course, in public utilities, you have a multitude of divisions across, water, wastewater, billing, and then between distributions and collections, and the most new division of public utilities, which is maintenance. And internalizing a lot of that maintenance has already proved a cost savings for the city. But this is a role where we can be a lot more proactive, and we can be a lot more service-oriented to the public, and we can let the professionals in each of the divisions focus on their specified work while allowing the executive administrator to do administrative work. Right now we have, I think, we have a lot of the directors or assistant directors doing that administrative work that would otherwise they would be more boots on the ground, or they would be doing more mission-centric work as opposed to doing the basic office things or communicating internally that they just simply don't need to be doing. And the missing piece is that kind of the hub of the wheel, and where code enforcement and utilities are kind of enmeshed in certain ways. it makes sense, as opposed to creating two positions, to just allow the overlap and let them communicate. So do you have any questions? We talked to Councilman Ruckman early in the budget process about this position. We talked to,
Me,
yeah, you did.
me over here.
We didn't talk to Councilwoman Keener early in the budget process about this, but we did talk to her post-budget process about this. And then, of course, we all talked during the budget about what the, the rationale was for this process. Oh,
I'm gonna let this go for its first reading and bring it back in 2 weeks, but in that time, if anybody does have any questions, please reach out to me or to Mr. Salyers. I think this one is very straightforward, and all of us have, I think most of us have ridden around, like you said, with the code enforcement. Get on it, Lenan. Or have walked through public utilities, and it's pretty clear that this position would be very valuable to those folks. So, in light of that, Tanner talked very quickly, I guess, so I'll give up the rest of my time.
has never been said before. Okay.
No other questions?
Biggest compliment ever.
We'll adjourn the Planning Community Relations and move now to Mr. Sevens for Streets and Public Buildings about resolutions 16 and 17, pedestrian safety projects.
Mr.
All right.
Ball and Mr. Platt.
Great. I'll do the warm-up here, and then Gwen's going to dive into the details. So we have two resolutions. It's important that if we want to do this grant application, so the resolution 2026-16, that needs to be passed tonight because the grant is due before the next council meeting. And then resolution 17 is supposed to be to bid a construction contract. So we will come back. That will go to a third reading. So we're asking for a second reading tonight, and then we will come back with an amendment to touch that up to be a construction contract. And then I can, if you're ready, Quentin, you're welcome to talk about the project. Sure. So. Okay, so I should probably have one of these. Yeah, you're gonna want that. I'm gonna want one of these to look at. Thank you, council. So to refresh your memory from 2 years ago, we were able to submit a Safe Routes to School application to ODOT, and it was accepted. So we broke that project down into 3 phases. That was per the direction of our local Safe Routes to School coordinator with ODOT. And the first phase that we broke down is what you see in green. In our application, we actually asked them to partially fund all 3 phases, but they said instead of doing that, they just wanted to fund phase 1 entirely. So we have phase 1 of this project fully funded. We just got our stage 3 plans of the 3-stage design, so really close to being done. We just got those back over the weekend. So we plan to construct that this summer. And we were originally under the impression that we would have to complete the first phase before we went back to ODOT and asked for more money. But then in talking with ODOT, they said, actually, would be a great time to go ahead and submit an application for the next round. So we're looking at phases 2 and 3 in this next application, and we'll probably do the same thing we did last time. We'll say maybe pay for 50% of phase 2 and 50% of phase 3 to get this project done, and we'll see what they say about that. So when we applied 2 years ago, ODOT had just recently increased the Safe Routes to School maximum grant amount to $500,000, and this year they just doubled that. So we can now ask for up to $1 million in grant funding. Another thing that's really good with this project that makes us a shoe-in, I don't want to say it's a good thing, but this is a high priority area. If you look at the ODOT active transportation need map, so this is identified as a level 3 out of 4, which is really good. And that gets us some extra points there. And unfortunately, we've also had a lot of pedestrian incidents within the 2-mile radius of these schools. Some of them, actually just in 2025, I was looking at the data, we had 5, I believe, pedestrian or pedal cycle related incidents. So last year was not a good year for pedestrian incidents within 2 miles of these schools. But hopefully that will kind of, put some wind under ODOT sails and help them give us some more money to get this done, because this is really one of the first things when I started at the city started getting a lot of calls from people in this neighborhood saying, why don't we have sidewalks here? Why are kids walking on the streets? Why are they crossing the street with high-speed traffic? So we've already taken a lot of steps. The school zone's been extended. We've got the solar-powered speed limit signs up and some rapid flashing beacons up. And we're just looking to kind of expand that out and kind of get the whole neighborhood in there.
And what's an RRFB small s?
That's rectangular rapid flashing beacons. The S is to make it plural.
I should have known that.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
So, one question, thank you,
Uh-huh.
Quentin, for this. This is great, moving in the right direction, for sure. So, we're gonna be doing the old chip and seal through several of these streets.
Correct.
So that would not conflict with these sidewalks, as far as you know.
No, and actually, it would be better for this project if we did chip and seal than to do paving, because we're going to have construction equipment out there doing the sidewalks, and if we put brand new paved roads on there, then we're going to be doing a lot of damage to that new pavement. So if we spend less money doing the chip and seal, then we'll be kind of protecting that investment a little better.
So what all would get done this year then?
So this year, construction is everything in green. So starting at the north side, at the intersection of South Division Street and Yellow Jacket Drive, we'd be putting in a crossing to get across South Division Street and then come south to connect into Martinsburg Road. Currently, there's a sidewalk that goes down Yellow Jacket Drive, but it stops there. And there's no way to get south from that area. So the only way to go south if you're at the middle school or high school is technically to walk all the way through the campus, up the hill to the Career Center, and then come out onto Martinsburg Road there. And so from personal observation and even talking with some PD, we know that there are a lot of students walking through that way and even cutting through yards sometimes just to get someplace faster. So hopefully by giving them a route to go on, they'll be able to get somewhere safer. So that'll connect them into Martinsburg, and then the remainder would be picking up at Riley Street. There's a big sidewalk gap south of Riley Street, so we're going to close that all the way to Ames Street and be able to have a sidewalk on both sides of the street there. The crossings that are shown with the little RRFBs on Martinsburg, those are already completed, so those went in 2024. So that's already been done. We'll just be putting crossings along the cross streets there.
Council, I live in this neighborhood, and almost every day I see students walking on streets with no sidewalks and then crossing, even though we have a crosswalk on the south side of the Career Center entrance, they're crossing on the north side because they have to walk through yard to get to that crosswalk. So I especially with the grants, and appreciate engineering's work on getting these grants, and I recommend that we do this as quickly as possible, pass this legislation that we need to pass, and to get the grant and get this done. And it's time to invest in this part of the city. We've done walks in other places, other parts of the city. It's time to do some of this in the first ward.
I should also note the application is due March 6th. So if council doesn't pass this today, we will not be applying this year.
We will take care of that.
All right.
I want to remind council, and when I became the safety service director, one of the first things that we did was we walked to school. We went back to school. Remember all of you that went on that trip with us, but we literally went to school early that morning as though, you know, we were walking the path with those kids. We took a note of the street lights that were out in that neighborhood. We looked at, you know, the streets that didn't have the sidewalk. We looked at the traffic pattern of cars coming back and forth, and you know, it was kind of interesting going in there with all of us going in through the school, and you know, just kind of not just taking their word for it, but experiencing it on the ground, right? and you get a different feel for it when you see it in the same environment. And this project came about because people not only, saw a need, but they contacted us. They came in here, they contacted the administration, their council members, and it wasn't just complaints on Facebook. It was, they came in here and they said, this is a problem, please help. And their local government heard them, and we did something about it. And you're seeing, you've already seen stuff happen in that neighborhood. It's not like it's just now happening. But you're seeing a full build out in multiple phases. And I'm just like, thank you for your work. Thank you for your work. But to the public, thank you for bringing this stuff to our attention. We do listen. We do as much as we can, as quickly as we can. I like Mel's quote, real meaningful change often takes 7 years and 7 figures. But we want to see, how we can make the most impact and do that the most effectively. So
Well-
thank you, public, because you did this.
I think the turnaround time on this has been way faster than 7 years. So, very good job to Mel Severns and to the administration and to engineering. This looks fantastic. I'm super excited about this.
Well, explain that, the green line going down off of Martinsburg Road onto Division Street. That sidewalk's gonna be on the west side of Division Street?
Correct. Yeah, so on the east side, actually, it's a little deceptive when you're out there. It looks like we would have a lot of right-of-way. We have none. That's all private property there on the east side. There's a lot, yeah,
Well,
where the apartments
That's
are.
where kids walk now, though, right?
That's where a lot of them are walking now. And should we acquire the right-of-way, there are also parking areas. So you'd be putting a sidewalk through
Yeah.
a parking lot, essentially, which, if we even if we had the right-of-way, I don't think it would be I don't think ODOT would allow us to do that. They wouldn't give us money to do that.
On the west side.
We're going to try to get them to walk on the west side. One of the things that we heard from some officers was that a lot of kids are crossing there and actually cutting straight west over onto, what was that, Birch Street? And that's how they would get to like McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff. There's kind of a gap between the properties they can walk through. So you probably see a lot of kids walking on the east side, but you're not seeing the kids on the west side because a lot of them are just cutting through yards. So once they get across the street, they're just gone.
So a question, because this has come up recently with some of that crazy white stuff that we've had falling out of the skies for the last few weeks. But who would take care of this sidewalk here, this one here?
Yeah, I
specifically?
mean, as with all sidewalks, it's the onus of the property owner to maintain it. So I believe the adjacent property owners here would be
Some
the
apartments
apartments that are there, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe once some of these sidewalks go in, after they go in, it might be valuable if we can communicate to those residents somehow to say, yes, you have a sidewalk now, and yes, we do expect that you will keep that clean for our students who are gonna be walking to school and those things. I don't know, maybe that'd be, and help a neighbor who can't do their own sidewalk, right? I mean, I don't know how we do that.
Or an
but-
adopt a sidewalk
Adopt a
program
sidewalk.
by the local students that will be using it the most.
That's a
Good
good
luck with
idea,
that,
but I
yeah.
mean, yeah, this is great. I appreciate this work. This is good. Great. Council, any other questions? So I will try to, take the 16 to its third and final reading this evening. We do need to get that one done. As you heard, we have a March deadline. The second one, we're gonna take to another reading because we need to amend it.
It's
Correct,
actually,
Brian?
the language in the legislation is fine, we just need to clean up the title.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rob did look into that while we were going through, so it is.
So we'll wait, we'll give it its,
It can go, again, ODOT for number 17, we are not allowed to go out to bid until after July 1st.
okay.
So our preference is to go ahead and provide this onto a third reading. It does not include the emergency clause because it doesn't need it. If you pass this tonight, we will not be able to do anything until after July 1st because this is, 2027. The construction funds are in ODOT's fiscal year 27, which starts July 1st.
Okay, we will wait and let's clean up the language and then we'll amend it correctly.
It's just the title, so yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
So that's just the name on the agenda, basically. Yeah, so the document itself is fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That it?
That's it?
You done?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna adjourn Streets and Public Buildings, we're now in recess now until 7:30 PM. We begin the legislative portion of the meeting. going to call the legislative portion of Mount Vernon City Council for February 23rd to order. Mr. Sherman, please call the roll.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Here, yes.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Mr. Severns,
Here.
Miss Keener,
Here.
Mr. Mahan,
Here.
Mr. Jacklin.
Is there a motion to excuse Mr. Jacklin?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. He is excused. We welcome back Dan Pelton from Simple Church to give the invocation. Please rise for the invocation, remain standing for the pledge. Thank you.
Father, thank you for the opportunity to invite your presence into the opening of these proceedings. When you made us with similarities to yourself. You have a dominion, but you delegated some of that dominion to our care. It is an awesome thing to share oversight with you. Here we are flawed. With your presence and guidance, we desire to be of just service to this community. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you for being here. Council, in your packet are the minutes from the February 9th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'd ask for a motion for approval.
I so move.
Second?
Then moved and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Mr. Sherman, any proclamations?
No.
And I see no liquor control licenses. We do have one person wanting to speak on matters of city concern. That's Joe Porter. He's going to speak on Mobility Management Program Coordinator. And please come to the podium. You state your name and address. And then your comments are 4 minutes. If you need an additional 4, you can appeal to council for 4 more.
My name's Joe Porter. I'm the Program Coordinator, Mobility Management, Knox Public Health. And can I ask for my extension now? Because if you know me, it's hard to. I can squeeze stuff into 5 minutes, but I talk real fast. So.
Okay. Council, are you okay with going 8?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Don't forget to state your address.
I'm here tonight because, and I reached out to Mayor Starr. I want to kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's happening when it comes to human transportation and mobility and stuff around Knox County. We have a transportation advisory committee through the mobility management program. I won't go in too deep of what mobility management is and how it came about because it gets kind of complicated because it involves federal grant funding, blah, blah, blah. But leave it to say, I work a lot with on transportation and mobility for seniors, disabled, anybody that's in need of a resource. I don't give rides, but I do try to put resources together. So I'm trying to get around, the Transportation Advisory Committee meets quarterly. There are some elected officials that sit on the committee. There's some other folks, Cheryl sits on the committee. So what I'm trying to do is the areas around the county that don't have elected officials sitting on the committee, I'm trying to get around at least, hopefully twice a year to bring everybody up to speed on what's going on. Okay, so anyways, I'll just go down through some things here from the meeting last week, and just to give you a little heads up of some things that are going on, and going down through the minutes here. So the Knox County Transit bus, their fixed routes and stuff are changing a little bit in February. So I don't know if everybody's aware, but they're actually going to be running a fixed route down south of the river. So that's going to be a new thing that they're doing. We have discussed a number of things. There's some things going on down in Centerburg, some trail connector stuff that's going on. You guys have some trail stuff, good stuff coming to Mount Vernon and Centerburg with the Trail Town program and all that. So more to come on that. We did put together, we have a big problem in the county with folks particularly seniors that are trying to get to out-of-county medical appointments. It gets very expensive, okay? Riding around in the county is relatively inexpensive. If you can hitch a ride, if you can get scheduled in on station break, you can get to Columbus for a medical appointment for about a $30 round trip. Everything else is running, it's going to cost you anywhere from $100 to $200 for a round trip. If I'm a senior on a limited income, that's kind of tough to do. So working with JFS, with Dane Ballman out there and a couple other folks in the county, we built a program to try to get a little bit of funding together to help those folks that meet those lower income levels and stuff to where they can get to those appointments. So we made application to United Way for a little bit of funding to do a pilot program on that. Found out today we didn't get the funding, so we're going to be looking at other avenues. So we've got a number of service organizations around the county, so I'm sure they're going to be, hopefully they're going to help out. So we're working through some of that stuff. Mayor Starr came to me a year ago and asked me what I thought about my or the county Transportation Advisory Committee being the city's Transportation Advisory Committee. So we brought that to the Transportation Advisory Committee, so y'all are part of us now. Okay? So we are your Transportation Advisory Committee as well. So those are some things going on. You may have heard about the Cycling Without Age program that we've put together. So if you haven't, Cheryl's done some pretty cool stories on it. There's a lot of word going around, and basically it's a tri-shawl. It's basically a three-wheeled bike with two wheels on the front. Has a seat on the front, and we're going to be using that program to take folks that aren't able to get out throughout the streets and the areas of our cities and our villages and the bike trail and stuff like that, just to get them out to where they can actually see our beautiful county and city and all that sort of stuff. So this idea came to my attention a little over a year ago. It kind of got built up and built up and built up, and then it came to fruition. So we actually have 3 of the tri-shawls now. They're actually made in, where are they made at, Cheryl? Denmark. And we also have a trailer to where we can move all 3 of them around the county. All of that funding came from basically word-of-mouth donations. We have not done any fundraisers for that program. It's just this one heard about it, that one heard about it, and the money came all together. So training for our pilots or our pedal people on those starts next month, and the program's going to kick off on, I think it's April 25th, out at Foundation Park. So another thing that we've got going on, we're working a lot on sidewalks. We run a program called Project Sidewalk. One of our Transportation Advisory Committee folks is heading that up, and we're using that program to try to find some spots around where there's problems with sidewalks, and then we can do some walking audits of those sidewalks and stuff and kind of confirm that. So we've had a lot of snow. We've got a lot of sidewalks, not just in the city, but the villages and all sorts of stuff like that. And I'm working on trying to get out to the businesses, get the word out to folks to please help keep your sidewalks cleaned off a little bit. I've seen folks in wheelchairs rolling down Coshocton Avenue because they can't get on the sidewalks. And, you know, we've got that going on. It's going on everywhere, and it's really hard, especially when you get a big snow. But we think about those things, but other things we don't think about is how people park near sidewalks. So, and since I've started doing this job, I look at a lot of stuff. So I live up on the north end, so I'm coming down Mulberry Street to get here tonight. And, you know, a few years ago, we put that nice sidewalk up there on North Mulberry before you get to Belmont. And it's beautiful except for the pickup trucks and the cars and everybody that's parked on the sidewalk. So that doesn't help our folks. And we think about walking, but a lot of times we don't think about the folks that are in wheelchairs. Folks that can't, you know, basically they need that sidewalk. They need those things to negotiate. I look at a lot of things. I look at the way people park up against sidewalks. People will park up against a sidewalk that doesn't have a parking stop. And they'll put their wheels against the sidewalk, and they forget about that 2 feet of car that's hanging over the sidewalk. And then if I'm in a wheelchair, or if I'm walking or something like that, or if I'm using a walker, I can't get through, okay? So please, I'm not trying to make waves or anything, but I am trying to make people aware that there are people out there that don't use cars. There are people out there that walk and all that good stuff. So working on that stuff. We have an active transportation coalition, an active transportation program. Mayor, you're not aware of this yet, but it looks like that active transportation coalition is going to roll into the Transportation Advisory Committee as well. So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a bunch of groups that are, this one's talking over here and that one's talking over there and everybody's doing their own thing. We're trying to get everybody coordinated and get everybody together and working together, okay? And we all know how fun that can be to try to make that happen. So Transportation Advisory Committee's meetings are quarterly. We had pizza at the last one. Food always brings people in. The next one is at the Centerburg Town Hall, and I'm trying to get them to get kolaches in there for some chow and all that sort of stuff. And really, that's kind of the big gist of what's going on. Bottom line is we're trying to improve public transportation. We're trying to find, is my time up?
Just kind of wrap up, Joe.
Okay, I'll wrap up with this to give you an idea, and this is why I talk so long. I'm very passionate about what I'm doing and trying to make things better. So last Tuesday I spent 12 hours at the Ohio State House talking with representatives and senators and all that sort of stuff to try to get them to see what's going on down here. Okay, I had a very, very awesome meeting with Representative Lear, Representative Heiner, and their legislative aides. I'm trying to talk them into creating a task force. There are some ways out there to help people pay for transportation, but we've got to get them to recognize that and free up some money. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, yes.
Can I just ask a question? Have you been able to get the sidewalk audit that was done through ADF on North Main? It was done back in probably 22.
Tammy and I are looking through all of that.
Okay.
And I don't want to keep you all night, but where we're at is we've gone through all that stuff, and what we're finding is we have this active transportation plan that came around with that and the sidewalk audit and everything, but everybody's struggling to follow the plan. So we're actually making rounds to all the political subdivisions to try to get everybody back on board on that. But yeah, we've seen that, and Mayor, I've got a question from Jocelyn down on the south end about the sidewalk down there, and I'll touch base with you one of these days on that. So, but yeah, we are looking at all those things. Oh,
That might answer some.
hi, Brian. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, so. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Stay tuned. They're gonna vote on some of this later.
All right, cool.
We had a
Well, and this
committee
is
meeting.
awesome because she did approach me on that. So.
We had a committee meeting this evening discussing better sidewalk for students and people, all people in the south end.
Okay.
That's an
Well,
issue.
and I'll get away from the microphone, but as we go along, and Mayor and Brian can tell you too, I'm very outside the box thinking, so I'm not afraid to ask anybody to try something new. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, Council, and before you are the agenda for tonight, there was a request to the Finance Committee to add one more item to then and now. Is that okay with you, Mr. Mahan?
Yes, we have we're gonna amend 2026-23.
Okay, so with that change, are there any other additions or corrections? If not, I'll assume it's approved by consensus. And we'll move now to resolution for third reading. The first one is resolution number 2026-08. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to file an application to the State of Ohio to participate in the Brownfield Remediation Program for the Mount Vernon Justice Center and State Route 13 projects.
Mr. Severance.
Yes, I move to adopt resolution 2026-08.
Second?
They moved in second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severance?
Man, we've had some committee meetings. We had a couple committee meetings on this, I believe, but this has to do with our state Route 13 reroute project, and we've got to start moving some of these things forward. So, questions?
Any other questions? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Next resolution is resolution number 2026-10. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to enter into contract with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the KNO 125040 State Route 13 Corpo project and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to adopt Resolution 2026-10.
Second?
Been moved and second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severns?
Council, again, this has to do with our reroute project, and we've had committee meetings on this, and I think it's ready to go.
Any other questions? Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. The next resolution is resolution number 2026-12. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and award a qualification-based selection for design services related to the North Sandusky Street and Upper Fredericktown Road Improvement Project, KNO 125040 State Route 13 Corpo, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to adopt Resolution 2026-12.
Second?
Been moved and second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severns.
Council, we've had committee meetings on this as well. It's up in my neighborhood, and I think this would be wonderful to help improve that area.
Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Now we move to resolutions for second reading. First one is resolution number 2026-16. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director to file a grant application to the Ohio Department of Transportation for the Safe Routes to School Project, Phase 2.
Thank you, Skip. We do 12?
We adopted
Yeah.
12. And declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severns.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings and move Resolution 2026-16 to its third and final reading.
Second?
Been moved and second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension?
Yeah, what's the purpose, Mel, for
We
the
have a
suspension?
March deadline,
Okay.
so if we want to get this grant, we've got to move
I
on.
don't,
Yep.
I beg your pardon, that was discussed in committee. I
That's
got
all right.
confused.
Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Rule is suspended. Mr. Severns.
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2026-16.
Second?
Been moved and second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severns.
Nothing further.
To clarify for the public's sake and to point out for Mr. or Councilman Miller, there is a grant deadline of March 6th, but the bid deadline is not until July.
Right.
You're right. So those are two separate things, and that's a good point of clarification for the public.
Yeah.
So one of these pieces of legislation can go 3 readings, no emergency clause, there's no urgency on one of the pieces of legislation. This first piece of legislation, in order for us to get that Safe Route to Schools grant, we need to get this moving along.
Right, and I think the benefit is we've received good vibes from the state of Ohio to this could happen.
Yeah, there was a real
They've had,
strong.
they've had
Thoughts and
gatherings
vibes,
where I
man.
think they look
Yeah,
well
no,
upon
they-
this.
They are
so,
very
yes.
interested in this project. They've been a partner in this project. We want to keep.
I know a
keep
guy
this
who
going.
was down at the State House talking about it.
Willing to do it for 12 hours, folks.
So yeah, there are 2. This is phase 2 is what you're voting on under legislation number 16.
Good question.
Mr. Sherman.
Mr. Ruckman,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Severns,
Yes.
Ms. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Now we move to resolution number 2026-17. Mr. Sherman.
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and award a qualification-based selection for design services related to the South End Pedestrian Safety Improvements Project, Phase 1, KNO 122162, SRTS, State Route 586, PID 2411301.
Mr. Severance?
Yes, we'll give this a second reading tonight.
This resolution receives a second reading. We now move to resolution number 2026-21. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to dispose of items owned by the City of Mount Vernon not needed for public use and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mahan?
Yes, Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings and bring resolution number 2026-21 to its third and final reading.
Second.
Been moved and second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I move to adopt resolution 2026-21.
Second.
Been moved and second for the adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Mahan?
I believe we're selling equipment from the old Domino's property, is that right?
Yes. So at this point, part of the reason to suspend the rules, the utilities are off in the facility. We're trying to maintain the humidity because it's up and down. But we have purchased the building and a large cooler. Those have substantial value, and we would love to sell those, probably using Gov Deals, to recoup that money back into the project.
That's not quite as exciting as selling cars.
Yeah, I know. I can't outdo the chief. I don't have any
do,
cars to sell.
But no, council, this does have value. We want to get it on the market
Yeah.
and have it.
We've had several people call, and because again, this technically classifies as federal property, we have to go through this process to dispose really of any of it. So.
Okay.
Killed it.
Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is,
Adopted.
what's that?
It's
Adopted.
Yep.
Rule is adopted. We now move to resolution number 2026-22. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing and directing the Safety Service Director of the City of Mount Vernon, Ohio, to enter into contract with Amy's Nail Nook LLC and Sarah's Loft LLC to lease the property located at 49 Public Square and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Severance?
Yes, I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings and take resolution 2026-22 to its third and final reading.
Second?
Been moved and second for suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Severance?
Yes, I move to adopt resolution 2026-22.
Second?
Been moved and second for adoption of this resolution. Any discussion? Mr. Severance?
I might need to get my nails done or my hair, so this would be excellent to have another opportunity in Mount Vernon, okay?
Are they gonna dye your hair?
Definitely the hair.
Had to throw that in there since somebody brought that up earlier.
Okay. Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. The final resolution this evening is resolution number 2026-23. Mr. Sherman?
A resolution authorizing and directing the auditor of the City of Mount Vernon to pay bills pursuant to section 5705.41D, then and now certification.
Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I move to suspend the rule requiring 3 separate readings and take resolution number 2026-23 to its third and final reading.
Second?
Been moved and second for the suspension of the rules. Any discussion on the suspension? And for your information, this is the one that was passed out tonight, highlighted in yellow is the one addition to this resolution. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The rule is suspended. Mr. Mahan?
As referenced, I'm going to move to amend resolution 2026-23.
Second?
Been moved and second, this resolution be amended. Any discussion on the amendment?
Could we have the description of the amendment is that it's the yellow highlighted that was passed out to all members of council.
Yes.
Do you get a copy of this, Cheryl?
That's section number 3.
Yeah.
And I believe the reason for adding this, well, we'll talk about that when we get there. Sorry.
Any discussion on the amendment? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The amendment is adopted. Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I move to adopt Resolution 2026-23 as amended.
Second.
And moved and seconded that this resolution adopted as amended. Any discussion?
Mr. Brinkman, can you make then and nows as exciting as selling cars and coolers?
No, but I'll try my best. So the first one of these is for Image Trend, which does some software for the fire department. Again, not very exciting. Second one is for AEP, to keep the lights on at one of Tommy's buildings for PB&L on Worcester Road. That one is probably a function of, it was January 6th is when the PO was, and kind of the first of the year, all the POs have to close per state law. And then the third one that we added this evening is for the attorney for the H2 overhaul project, who I believe is, as our safety service director said, issued the invoice the day that we closed the bond. So not a lot of time to get your POs in there.
Appropriate the money. So.
Yeah. So.
The timing issues on the then and nows.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. We now move to ordinances. The first two ordinances are for third reading, and the first one is ordinance number 2026-01. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance establishing compensation, benefits, and terms of employment for the city clerk and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to adopt ordinance 2026-1.
Second.
And moved and second for the adoption of this ordinance. Any discussion? Mrs. Keener?
Thank you, Mr. President. We've had a couple of committee meetings on this discussing this expansion of a role. We discussed it during budget time, so we've had more than the 3 meetings to work on this, and it also was budgeted for last year, so we had a plan in place for this. So I would just urge a yes vote.
Any other discussion? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance for third reading is ordinance number 2026-02. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance to amend section 911.04 of the codified ordinances of the city of Mount Vernon.
Mr. Ruckman?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I move to amend ordinance number 2026-02. A second.
And the amendment is?
The amendment is under Section 5, which we discussed at the committee meeting last time. I'm sure you all remember 2 weeks ago when we talked about this. No, we are switching under Section 5, bit where it says failure to pay fees will result in termination of water and wastewater services. That is going to change from failure to pay fees will to may. So they may result in termination.
Any question on the amendment?
I do have a question. Were we also going to add in the amount of the fee in there? Is that something?
The fee is
That's
managed
established by the
Board of Control.
Okay,
control
all
board,
right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the amendment? Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Severns.
Yes.
Ms. Keener.
Yes.
Mr. Mahan.
Yes.
The amendment is adopted. We're now back to the ordinance as amended. Back to Mr. Ruckman.
Thank you. We return to episode 3 of Mount Vernon's War on Fog. Uh, I know that this has been a very riveting journey for most of you thus far, as it has for me and many others. This has been a long time coming. We had our committee meeting last time on this, and it has been in the Utility Commission for what seems like forever. So for anyone who was not tuned in last time, this is not actually really referring to fog and a lack of visibility in the morning, but rather fats, oils, and greases. So, and this is putting, this is going to put code enforcement on that, and it's basically just moving the codified ordinances around or changing them around to include this and basically have a more appropriate language for it. So that's what we're doing, and I move to adopt as amended.
Second. Well, that clears it up, so it's not foggy anymore, so, any questions on the amendment? Adopt the, ordinance as amended. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Ruckman?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Severns?
Yes.
Ms. Keener?
Yes.
Mr. Mahan?
Yes.
The ordinance as amended is adopted. We now move to ordinance for second reading. It's ordinance number 2026-03. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance establishing compensation, benefits, and terms of employment for the Executive Administrator for Public Utilities and Code Enforcement, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just going to give this its second reading today.
This ordinance receives its second reading. We now move to ordinances for first reading. The first one is ordinance number 2026-04. Mr. Sherman?
Authorizing the issuance of notes in the amount of not to exceed $29 million in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of constructing a police station and related facilities, furnishing and equipping the same, improving the sites thereof, and acquiring real property and interests therein as may be necessary in connection therewith, and authorizing and improving related matters, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mahan?
Thank you, sir. I'm going to give this its first reading. I'm going to recommend the public, if you're just tuning in, scroll back to the committee meeting that we had this evening. We're also going to have another committee meeting on March 9th, and I believe Zach, we already asked to schedule that. Is that correct? Okay. So first reading tonight, sir.
So this is an amount not to exceed $29 million, so this is a big piece of legislation. And that ordinance receives its first reading. The final ordinance this evening is ordinance number 2026-05. Mr. Sherman?
An ordinance establishing compensation, benefits, and terms of employment for the Community Development / Public Information Officer, and declaring an emergency.
Mrs. Keener?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to give this its first reading and ask for a 15-minute committee meeting.
This
Waiting for the head shake.
This ordinance receives its first reading. Now I move to remarks of administration. Mayor Starr?
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, I don't really have too much for you this evening. We, as you are all aware, we're now transitioning into our new place down at 236 South Main Street, so that's where we've kind of had our heads and moving things, getting settled. So anyway, it's exciting, but things are going well, and we're anxious to get the council down there too as soon as we can. That Chambers is looking really nice, and we are looking forward to conducting all of our business down there. So anyway, a great job for our public buildings and land staff who have been really quite active over the last couple of weeks. And our IT department has everything set up in terms of the card access, internet, phones, and so everybody's been working very, very well together. So anyhow,
I assume our cards don't work yet.
I don't know. I don't know if they I don't know if they would or not.
Mine does.
Yeah, you
Yours
guys
works down
should.
there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Good to
You want
know.
to come down and take a look? Come on down.
Well, yours might not, Bruce.
Thank you. And Mr. Sires?
Thank you, Mr. President. As the mayor mentioned, we are entering our Mount Vernon Municipal Center era. So we want to thank all the folks that have worked very diligently to allow that transition to take place. And looking forward to starting construction and getting the whole gang back together down there at 236 South Main. So and we appreciate COTC for putting up with our Lord bless this dust. So, appreciate that. Mr. Zimmerman has asked that I announce there will be a solid waste meeting March 4th at 3 p.m. at the Municipal Center. So he's been reaching out to the various solid waste haulers, letting them know that new sheriff in town. So, and the response has been mixed. Entertaining. Tomorrow is our second installment of the Washington Forum. That will be at the Woodward Opera House. So tomorrow night, Tuesday night, 2/24 at 6 p.m. There will be 5 professors. So 2 from Kenyon College, 2 from Ohio State, and 1 from the University of Dayton. They will discuss Ohio's role in shaping the nation, title Mother of Presidents. Be very riveting stuff. These are all published, very impressive speakers. So I encourage you to come out and listen to them speak on the 8 presidents from Ohio, really contingent upon whether or not you give us credit for William Henry Harrison. It's kind of a joke there. But come out and hear that and engage in that panel. It'll be very entertaining. And not long ago, the point of personal privilege, I sat right here and announced the birth of my nephew, who, when I told you the weight of this child, there was an audible gasp in the room. And then I said, thoughts and prayers for my sister. So she has had yet another nephew. Soren Stone Bowman was born today. And this child was also 9 pounds, 10 ounces. So corn-fed down there. But I want to give a shout out to my sister and brother-in-law and that whole family, who my oldest nephew refers to as Baby Stitch. So, he's going through a Stitch phase. So, anyway, that is all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Stoller.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Brinkman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to share a bit of good news regarding our hospitality industry, since my office compiles all the lodging tax numbers. While our lodging tax numbers are up for 2025, probably more interesting to the public and council would be that our lodging receipts are up quite a bit for last year, to the tune of a little over $1 million, from 5.5 million in 2024 to 6.5 million just last year. So it's a big jump year over year for an industry. So something to be proud of for our community.
People want to come here. That's great. Mr. Braun.
I would also note that I think we're doing a better job of finding people who should be paying the lodging tax who are not.
That's important.
Secondly, the meeting we have with the solid waste haulers on March 4th, if any members of council have concerns about solid waste haulers here in the city, they're compliant with the rules for having a tarp on your vehicle as you haul it through the city, or the pickup of recycling. If you would please let either myself or Mr. Zimmerman know, we will certainly be happy to bring it up with the various members of the waste hauling community as they all set to get permits for this upcoming year.
Thank you.
Is that meeting open to the public?
I don't know. I don't.
It is certainly open to council members.
Yes.
Yeah. This is not necessarily an open.
No, it's not a public
meeting.
meeting,
What's the
but
date and time again?
March 4th
at
at 3
3.
p.m.
do it
But
on the
if anybody from the public does have a question or concern about the legislation or about any concerns that they have seen with waste haulers, feel free to contact the administration or council, and we will bring it up with waste haulers.
Yes, we will.
If 4 or more council members are there, it becomes an open meeting. So let
So the
somebody
fourth
know
one,
if you're coming.
so the fourth one and the door gets thrown out.
Yes.
Get out.
Please let us know in advance. That way
I'll
we
be
can.
there early.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hager.
I just wanted to remind folks on February 28th is the coldest night of the year, and there will be a whole bunch of us walking raising money for the Winter Sanctuary. And I want to thank all the folks who sponsored myself personally, and I just want to tell you how proud I am to be walking for such a great and worthy cause. Mayor Starr, are you walking too? Yep. So we will be doing a 5K. I'm walking with Gay Street United Methodist Church team, and we will be walking, I think, down Gay Street to the bike trail and going and doing a kind of a loop like 3 times, because I think it's like a mile something each way. So anyway, if you see us, wave, honk. Thank you to everyone who supported all of the walkers.
It's a great cause. The Winter Sanctuary's been here since about 2003, something like that. It's been here a long time, and serves a real need in this community. Mrs. Keener.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Ruckman, it may have taken a very long time to get this fog ordinance done, but I just want to say that I really appreciate the work that went into this. I think that it will give some emphasis behind what can be done through Zimmerman's office, and having had somebody who has dealt with some issues related to this, I think it's really important to have in place for our city. So thank you for your annoying, probably sometimes, work on that. And that's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Yes, I just want to reiterate about the March 4th meeting for the solid waste, and invite anyone that has any concerns, please bring them to me, because I will definitely be in attendance to that meeting. I have called Rumpke for the last time about a lack of service, and I called again today, which is like the 3rd Monday in a row, and all I got from him, I said, is my non-pickup weather-related or what? No, it's not weather-related. Well, when are you coming? Well, we'll be there sometime this week. And that's like the 3rd time now, I think, in the last 4 Mondays that I've had to call them and ask them if they're going to pick. You know, one time they'll pick up the recycling, they won't pick up the trash. Another time they'll pick up the trash, they won't pick up the recycling. So if there's anyone else out there in the community that shares my concerns, I'm going to be at that meeting very vocal on the 4th.
What we don't need is trash cans sitting out there all week.
Exactly. And that's what I tried to explain to her. It's like, well, you said someday this week. So, yeah, just leave it sit out there at the curb. We'll be around eventually to get it.
No.
Can't do that.
Like, I think we need to, open it up and maybe get a couple more suppliers in here and initiate the spirit of competitive pricing.
They're out there.
Mr. Ruckman.
After we can get a control on the ones that aren't complying.
Mr. President.
Mr. Severance.
Yes, concerning the solid waste pickup, so just a question, and I don't know if we know, but it would be a question I'd like this to be taken forward.
The meeting will begin tonight.
Well, no, this is, so
When Scott is on a plane somewhere.
Yeah.
do waste pickup companies have to supply a separate recycle
Yes.
opportunity?
You, as a user, do not have to recycle, but they have to offer it, and it cannot be a surcharge.
So, when you say they have, I know of 2 companies, I'm not going to name them publicly right
Yes.
now, but
We're quite
They-
aware of who they
We
are.
are, yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
seem shocked that
Yeah.
we have this requirement.
because they tell their people just to put everything in a bag,
Yes.
and then they will separate it when they take it to the
That's not
dump.
the way
That
it
is
works.
false. That's
That
not
is
how that
illegal.
works.
That
That's
is
not
not
how.
That-
To
that-
quote a very popular commercial, that's not how any of this works.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I know of 2, but anyway.
Yes.
The second thing, I would like to thank Mr. Porter for coming and his work that he does. And he did mention, and I drive this same strip every day, which is North Mulberry. And I don't know if it's because of the way it was designed, but there are cars that do park up on the sidewalk, not cross, but they like this way on the sidewalk. You literally cannot get by them at all. And I don't know if that's the only opportunity that they have to park. I would like that to be looked at, whether that's your office or the police department or whoever, but that needs to be
That could
reviewed.
either, depending on the infraction, could be code enforcement, or it could be the police department, so.
Okay, I just make note of that if we could have that checked, because it's a regular occurrence.
So I will say, there are certain areas of the city where they seemingly don't have an alternative to park. I know on the north end in particular, and Joe's still here, there are certain areas, I'll just say on Pleasant Street, where They have parked along the side of the road and parked on the sidewalk because that's just where they park. There is no parking area for them. That's not to say that their property can't have, a designated parking area and improved surface for them to park. But currently, as their property sits, and I'm not talking about one place in particular, I'm talking about a section of the city. That's just the situation for those property owners. Then there are people who just like to park on the sidewalk. And again, I point back to our commercial. That's not how any of this stuff works.
Right.
So that will have to be a discontinued practice because the city, with taxpayer dollars, has invested for, pedestrian infrastructure like this that a lot of people use and enjoy, and it improves property values. And just because, well, I like to park here, well, sorry, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we can look into that. That'd be great. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Mahan?
I appreciate the work done by various departments in the city on the sidewalks on the south end. Very excited for that, and just appreciate everyone's work and council's support on that, administration's support on that. Also appreciate all the work that's being done on the capital projects, the police station just being one example. I mean, there is just a lot going on. So I appreciate the work of engineering and administration on all those capital projects. That's all this evening.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the snow warriors for not sleeping at night and going out and cleaning our streets. And they've done a nice job, and not an enjoyable job being out there in the middle of the night, but it needs to be done, and it's important to the city. Thank you. Thank you for the media for being here this evening. That being said, I call for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.